Lyle and Erik Menendez were found guilty of killing their parents in Beverly Hills in 1989. The second part of Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan's Netflix anthology series, Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, delves into the well-known true crime narrative once again. Find out more about the current status of the Menendez brothers and the fresh evidence that could lead to their release. On August 20, 1989, Jose and Kitty Menendez were discovered shot multiple times from a close distance in the living room of their Beverly Hills home. Initially, the police thought the mob might be involved due to the brutal nature of the killings. Lyle and Erik, aged 21 and 18, claimed to have discovered their parents dead when they got home. Following their parents' deaths, the brothers seemed to be using their inheritance to indulge in luxury items, property, and business projects. A significant development in the case occurred when Judalon Smith, Erik's psychologist's mistress, informed the police. She disclosed that Erik had confessed to the murders during his therapy sessions, and there were recorded audio tapes of his confessions. What motivated Lyle and Erik Menendez to kill their parents? In March 1990, the brothers were charged with first-degree murder for the deaths of their parents. The case sparked a highly publicized legal saga that lasted several years, involving multiple juries, 2 trials, and one that ended in a mistrial. The defense argued that the brothers acted in self-defense. They claimed that their parents had been abusive towards them. On the other hand, the prosecution argued that greed was the driving force. They suggested that the brothers aimed to take control of their parents' $14.5 million estate. It was reported that the brothers spent a significant portion of their inheritance on high-end items, business ventures, and vacations. The first trial concluded on January 13, 1994, with a mistrial due to the jury's inability to decide whether the brothers should be convicted of manslaughter due to the abuse or first-degree murder. In the end, after the second trial, the jury convicted Lyle and Erik Menendez of first-degree murder. The brothers were sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences without the chance of parole. Where are Erik and Lyle Menendez now? Erik and Lyle Menendez are currently serving their life sentences at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego, California, as confirmed by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. The brothers are ineligible for parole. Following their convictions, the two were placed in different prisons. Their last encounter was in 1996, where they were able to see each other from across the prison yard but were unable to communicate. They were transported to separate locations. Over time, Lyle has repeatedly expressed his desire to be closer to his brother. On February 22, 2018, he was relocated from Mule Creek State Prison in Northern California to the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego, where Erik had been serving since 2013. On April 4, 2018, the brothers were finally reunited when Erik moved into Lyle's section. Journalist Robert Rand reported that upon the guard opening the door, Lyle recognized his brother and they both immediately broke down in tears. They embraced each other for a few minutes without uttering a word, Rand noted. Then, the prison officials allowed them an hour to spend together in a room. In January 2017, Lyle shared with ABC News that he had come to terms with his actions. "I am the one who killed my parents, and no amount of tears or regret can change that," he stated. "I accept that. You are often shaped by a few significant moments in your life, but that doesn't define who you are. Your life is your complete story. You can't change it. You're just left with the choices you've made." Lyle still maintains that they were subjected to abuse by their father, which he believes strengthened their bond as brothers. "It's incredibly painful and complex," he said. "We developed a closeness through that shared trauma. The bond became incredibly strong and intense. I'm the older brother, so I often tried to protect Erik during our childhood," Lyle continued. "But in the end, I realized I couldn't protect him or save him from the severe abuse I thought we had managed to escape. I thought we had gotten through early childhood fairly well, but that wasn't the case." While Erik has not been interviewed by ABC News in 2017, he shared in a 1996 interview with Barbara Walters that he felt deep remorse for the murders. "There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about what happened and wish I could undo that moment," he expressed. What new evidence supports the allegations of abuse by Lyle and Erik Menendez? The focus now shifts from whether Lyle and Erik Menendez are guilty of murdering their parents to whether they committed the crime out of fear and self-defense due to years of abuse. There is emerging evidence that could back this assertion, and the defense team, led by Cliff Gardner, is aiming to secure their release. This new evidence includes a letter Gardner claims was penned by Erik Menendez to his cousin, Andy Cano, in December 1988, nearly 8 months prior to the incident, as reported by CBS News. A section of the letter reads, "I've been trying to stay away from Dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's getting worse for me. Every night, I find myself awake worrying about him coming in. I'm scared. He's insane. He's told me 100 times not to tell anyone, especially Lyle." Andy Cano, who testified at the trials of the brothers, mentioned that Erik had disclosed to him years before the incident that his father was inappropriately touching him. However, the prosecution at trial suggested that Cano was fabricating the story, CBS News reported. On April 2023, Roy Rosello, a former member of the Puerto Rican boy band Menudo, alleged that Erik and Lyle's father, Jose, sexually assaulted him during his teenage years. In a sworn statement filed in 2023, Rosello recounted visiting Jose Menendez's residence in the late fall of 1983 or early 1984. He described an incident where he consumed a glass of wine, lost control of his actions, and alleged that Jose took him to a room where he was sexually assaulted. Rosello also mentioned that Jose had sexually abused him in 2 other instances. "I know what he did to me in his home," Rosello stated in the Peacock documentary series Menendez plus Menudo, Boys Betrayed, according to People. "That's the man who raped me. That's the pedophile." Erik responded to Rosello's accusation over a phone call with Rand, the journalist who has maintained contact with the brothers. "It's heartbreaking to learn about another victim of my father. I always had hope and believed that the truth about my father would eventually come out, but I never wished for it to be revealed in such a traumatic way, the result of another child's suffering," he said. In May 2023, Gardner submitted a habeas petition, introducing the letter in Rosello's statement as fresh evidence that argues for the overturning of his client's convictions. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has informed 48 Hours that it is investigating the allegations made in the habeas petition, as reported by CBS News.